Hello there. Today I'm tasting a wine that I brought with me back from the Perelada winery, which I visited last month. And this is a wine called Amfitrio de la Emporda. And Emporda is the region where the Perelada winery is based. It's down near the Costa Brava in southern Spain, near the border with France. And the Emporda wine region is allowed to produce wines both from local varieties such as Garnacha, Grenache, and Carignana, but also is allowed to use international varieties such as Cabernet Sauvignon, Merlot, Syrah. So this particular wine is a blend. I don't actually have the percentages of the blend, but this is a blend of Garnacha Negra, Carignana, and Syrah. And it's a wine that Perelada's chief winemaker, Delphi Senuha, has described as conveying the spirit of Perelada. He says the wine is a blend of the foreign and the autochthonous. And evidently the word Amfitrio describes somebody who's a host. So the idea of this wine is to try and give a guide towards the style of wines that Perelada are making here in Emporda. Now Perelada, quite a historic company. They have a beautiful new winery at their base at Castillo Perelada. And the location of the castle has been used for winemaking for over 6 centuries now. Its current owners, the Suqué Mateu family, acquired it in 1923 when Miguel Mateu bought the castle. Miguel was the son of Damián Mateu, who had founded Hispano Suiza, the motor company. And today the company is run by Javier Suqué, who's a third generation descendant of Miguel's. Today, the company has holdings not only in Emporda, but they also have estates in Rioja, in Priorat, in Rueda, and they've also acquired a winery called Chivite in Navarra. As well as their still wine production, they have quite a large division making Cava as well. So they're quite a large, diverse Spanish producer on the international stage. Their new winery in Perelada has won prizes both for its architectural merit and for the fact that it's sustainable. It's set up as a tourist destination, and it's really quite a spectacular location that's well worth visiting if you're in the region. As I say, this particular wine is a blend of Grenache, Carignan and Syrah. I believe the fruit comes from a diverse range of sources. Certainly Perelada have 5 distinct vineyards in the region. This wine is not noted as coming specifically from any of those 5. And in fact its blend changes from year to year. And I've seen vintages where it also contained Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon. But according to the label, that's not the case for this vintage, which is the 2022 vintage. The wine's been fermented at moderate temperature in stainless steel tanks. There's been a fairly average period of maceration, and then it's gone into wood. Now that wood varies, with 60% of it spending 10 months in a mixture of French and American oak barrels. A further 20% of it aged in foudre, so larger casks, and that stayed there for a year, and then the remaining 20% spent that time aging in concrete tanks as well, so probably retaining a fresher fruit element to go into the blend. So let's have a look at the wine, shall we? The wine has a medium intensity of a ruby red colour. I can see through it fairly easily. There's almost a sort of slight purple touch to it. And as I swirl it, it is clinging to the glass fairly readily there. The wine is labelled as having 13.5% alcohol. So let's see what we make of the aroma, shall we? The aromas are complex, they're enticing, they're really interesting actually. They start off with being meaty, but then quite quickly show me some lovely juicy red fruit. There's a little bit of raspberry note in there. Then behind that you've got notes of sweet licorice coming through. There's sort of herbal notes, there's hints of rosemary, lavender. What the French would refer to as Garriga. It's the influence of the local scrub plants. And that really is adding a level of enticing complexity over the top of a wine which is not priced at a particularly high price. So let's have a taste. On the palate, that continues the ideas there of sort of a rich licorice, juicy red fruit. There are spices, there's a sort of peppery note. Again, there's that notes of vegetation. The note of rosemary there is quite pungent. The other thing I'd say is that the fruit is very much front of mouth. It's really only a mid-weight wine. It doesn't have a huge density that you might expect from something like a Châteauneuf du Pape or something like that. alcohol's giving a little bit of warmth to the back palate, but this is not a huge, heavy, overripe wine. Those spices are still interacting with now sort of slightly plummy, but also juicy raspberry, quite vibrant red fruits on the back palate. And this combination there, maybe hints of cedar coming in there from oak aging. And I suppose the warming note of alcohol is continuing with those spicy notes, perhaps enhancing the sort of cedar and rosemary notes as they come out. I guess following the initial impression, as I say, very much at front of mouth, there's very little more complexity shows in the wine, and it's not a wine I think would repay long aging. I think this is a wine to drink within 2 or 3 years of purchase, but nonetheless quite impressive in terms of its initial intensity and complexity. One other thing I should have mentioned, actually, looking at the bottle, it has this textured surface to it. This may seem a little affected. Evidently, the reasoning behind this is that this reduces the amount of damage that the bottles undergo during the bottling process. They get fewer bottles being chipped and unsaleable. So quite a nice idea as far as sustainability is concerned. So thank you so much for watching the tasting. I hope you found it of interest. If you have, do please press the like button. I would very much appreciate that. If you've enjoyed it and you'd like to share it with friends, do please pass it on to them. I'd really appreciate your help in that way. If you have any comments, please pop those in the comments box below. I will of course leave a link to the Wine Searcher website page for this vintage of this wine, so that you can see if it's available near you, at what price, and any other additional details we've got regarding that. So yes, thank you very much for joining us, and I do hope you'll come and join me for another video tasting in the very near future. Till then, bye for now.